We are back live, Hip Hop 95, Atlanta's #1 streaming hip hop station. And we are actually live. Shout out to Twins, shout out to YouTube audience, shout out to Apple Podcast audience. Oh yeah, shout out everybody. We sound good. The sound check went good. I am Ish, Ish from DJ Ish, and this is the show about nothing. To my left, struggling to sit down, is lifelong best friend, co-host, co-creator of the show, Drock. Talk to him.
Hey. What's poppin', bro? We are back. All right, I'm settled. Happy to be here. Happy to be here. Got a nice little show for you. 125 on the Sunday, July 30th. You know we get it in whenever we can. So
this is episode 44?
43. 43.
I thought last one was 43.
No, it was 40. Last one was 42. Because it was Jackie Robinson.
You're right.
43. I don't know if 43. Thanis Anakatupo.
Dirk, right? Oh, no, Dirk is 41. I'm tweaking.
Troy Polamalu. That's way better than Thanis.
Nah, he just got paid though, right? So shout out to my boy.
That was that brother contract. Shut up. I wish I was living your life, bro. I'm not hating at all.
They say he had multiple offers. I just laughed at it. Y'all want me to go play for real somewhere
from
else?
Like the G League, like from the actual NBA team. But yeah, shout out to Troy Polamalu, Steelers legend, one of the best safeties ever.
Even if they think I'm nice, like y'all want me to go try it when I can just do what I'm doing now. Like, what if I fail? I'm gonna turn down this bag.
Just put it that way. But yeah, big show. I say that every show because everything we do is big shit. You feel me?
The biggest. Yes, sir.
But it's been a great week. The first blockbuster weekend in music, which is nice. Yeah. Like, it felt very refreshing. I've listened to a lot of different music this weekend. Starting off with the Offset and Cardi single. Yeah. Offset, I'm ready. I'm very ready. We have Quavo this month. I'm actually not this month. This week, but this week we have Quavo. We have Benny the Butcher this month. We got Trippie Redd this month. Drake. I believe we have. I haven't been confirmed, but we are assuming Drake is this week. You know, rappers talking about they got albums coming out this week could mean anything. Yeah, but it's Drake. People got to get paid. Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming the 2 to 3 week threshold is what we're looking at. The producers for the Carter 5 are starting to post, Carter 6 are starting to post the videos for that. So Louisiana Fest usually falls in the last week of August. So I'm expecting Drake, Wayne, and Trippie Redd all this month.
Nicki's dropping too, right?
Nicki's dropping in November.
Yeah.
She moved her date from September to November due to probably anything. But this is the first big week of music. I think we're going to close this year strong. Mm-hmm. I think Tyler is going to come with something winter sounding, which is something he hasn't done yet. And when I was thinking about who's dropping, every 2 years Tyler and Billie Eilish are on the same kind of schedule, and I'm waiting on them. Yeah. And I think they're both doing winter-sounding albums because the last 2 releases for both of them have been summer-sounding albums. Right. So I'm expecting them later this year, and then all the artists I named. But giving you the floor.
Oh, okay.
It's your time.
Let's.
Travis Scott has dropped Utopia. It's been 5 years in the making. Man. It sounds like it's been 5 years in the making. It has been. It was a ride. Travis is Ish's guy. We always give whoever's the rapper guy is. So we'll go Ish first, and I'll let him get his review off. I'm very excited to hear what he has to say. We haven't spoke about it, so
we kept this under wraps.
Let's lock in.
First, let's just clap it up. Let's just clap it up out the gate, because I ain't gonna lie, this was crack. This was blue magic. This was super crazy. I didn't see. So when you asked me like what we were looking for, like as a Travis fan, like what I thought, could be on the horizons, one of my first answers was, I really can't wait to see the features. Because we talked about Astroworld, and one of my favorite things about Astroworld and just Travis music in general is how much he can improve the people that he brings in. Yeah. Even like the top tier people, putting their voices in places that they hadn't done before, or on beats that they hadn't used before, in a way to like amplify the effect on the album. I just love top tier artists or people who are gonna like if you're an artist and you know we're gonna listen to your album, hide the features. Hiding the features on these albums, especially Utopia, was so great because you're listening to it and you're locking in. But at the same time, you're like, man, is that, it's like, oh, nigga, is that Beyonce? Like, oh shit, that's Beyonce. Like, are you serious? Like, yeah, it was crazy, top to bottom. It sounded like it took 5 years. It sounded like it took 5 years worth of budget. The beat selection, the beat choices, of course, the Yeezus influence. I do got a question later that I'm gonna spring on Daniel that we hadn't really talked about. I thought about it on the way here, but maybe my favorite Travis project. Hey, listen, it's a little early. It's a little early to decide, but front to back cover, easily the best Travis album.
Okay.
Project wise, of course, you gotta contend with his mixtapes, but this sounded like you listen to this, and if you've been listening to Travis's music for a long time, you see what it's been pointing to. Like, it's all been pointing to this sounding album, where he's able to transition from 4 or 5 different sounds all throughout the album, all seamlessly.
Yes.
And that's what this album was about, where it was him really taking that next step. It feel like we just saw Giannis win that first ring. Okay. It's like, oh yeah, we knew, like, yo, if he got it, he might, take the crown. We talked about how the future of rap may look. I gotta see what these numbers look like, because this might be it.
So that's where I was going first. The music is the music. I wanted to start with the bigger picture of this and what this actually means. Because one thing we always say, and I believe once you are 4 for 4 on albums, you deserve to go in the name of, all right, Drake, we know what we're getting. Kanye, we know what we're getting. Hove, you drop, we know what we're getting.
Beyonce. Let's just say Beyonce.
Beyonce. The GOAT, the guys. We know what we're getting. So now that we know, that is no disappointment, and it's the money we spending into you, the return we're getting from you, it's always exceeds what we even expected. Right. So the last week I posed the question, or I just posed I think it was just a statement in general, like, this could be the album that knocks Drake. I don't want to say knocks Drake, but moves Drake into all right, I'm just a legend and not so much the biggest rapper in the world. It's kind of like where Kanye, Hove, and Wayne and Kendrick and Drake are still in that. But those 3 guys, those are the only 3 guys that I would say are kind of active. Like, you could throw 3K in there, but he don't really do a feature a year. Those 3 guys are kind of just like out of the biggest rap. They do what they do. Right. But Drake
like Beyonce and R&B singers.
Yes.
Like when they do the list and it's got SZA and Billie Eilish, they don't go, oh yeah, Beyonce's one.
Yeah.
Like, it's just understood that she's
exactly. Yeah. So Drake is kind of creeping into that category, but we haven't found anybody to replace Drake. So until we find somebody to do that, he's going to just be on the said throne. Him and Kendrick will be on said throne, because I don't want to leave Kendrick out. We just hear Drake more than Kendrick. Right. But Travis is the new guy that is on that type of level. It just doesn't sound the same. So I think it's kind of hard for people to, because the masses can't gravitate towards. No, I don't. That's the wrong way to say that. Everybody can't find Travis's sound appealing to
like
them.
Drake, yeah.
Drake is something for everybody. You might not like 90% of Drake, but it's 10% of something in his catalog that you'll fuck with. Right. The same thing for everybody else I just named.
Like they play Drake in like retail stores.
Yes.
They play Passion Fruit in like Walmart.
So because of how this project sounds, and what I think will come from this project with merch, with the bundles, with the sales, with the tour, with the festivals, with the movie, with with video game, shout out Fortnite, Call of Duty, all of that. The money I think that will come from this album, and now that the tour is a part of the rollout, damn near, and it's always been that way. I don't want to say that now, but it's kind of heightened more now in this day and age, because you can see the tour more, even if you don't go. Like, at some point, you'll get a Travis Scott live stream show. Yeah. So from all of that, I think he did something that he probably wasn't even trying to do, but I think he set himself up to be that guy for the next 5 or 6 years.
Oh, yeah.
But like I said last show, he has to come back next year. Or if he doesn't come back next year, I need to hear you 7, 8, 9 times on albums. I've heard Drake. I've heard a lot of Drake in the past few years.
Right.
I need to hear Travis like that over the next 2 years. If he's gonna go with no album next year, I need 8 features next year, 2 songs, 2 singles, 2 Lucy's or whatever, and then an album the year after that.
Right.
But I think this album was so good that it sets up him for the future.
For sure.
Now, I want to hear your thoughts on that, and then I'll come back on the music side of it.
No, absolutely, and I 1000% agree, especially with the timeline of this album, because this album was 10 years in the making almost, where songs that were made in 2013 verses that were laid in 2015 are being finished, coming out now. So there was so much, and with COVID, we talked about how COVID pushed stuff back, and then the Astroworld stuff happened, and that pushed everything back a year. Travis is almost 3 or 4 years late. I don't want to say late, but on his own timeline, this was supposed to be done a while ago.
Right.
So I think now that this is done, we've got this, we did it. We crossed the finish line. Moving forward, I think you'll see a lot of Travis on a lot of other people's stuff, because there was a time where it was like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I agree with that. Because even the features that have come out from Travis have kind of sounded like, here you go.
Yeah.
Like, I want to say it was one somewhere, and you'll probably be able to tell me, it was one somewhere that was super crazy, but the ones I'll figure it out some before the end of the show. But it was a feature he dropped in the past 2 years that was super crazy. But most of the features have kind of sounded...
Was it SZA?
Yes.
Yep.
That's exactly what it was.
Gotcha.
That's exactly, the song was SZA.
Yep.
Open Arms, I believe.
I can't remember.
I want to say it's Open Arms. Off of SZA's, the song off of SZA's last project is a feature, exact feature I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Those features sounded like, we working together. Like, those songs had been done before a while ago. Right. But musically, and I don't want to sound hyperbolic, saying this, but I truly, truly believe, I do not think I've heard an album sound this good in 2 to 3 years. Like, Donda is always the standard for me, but that's Kanye West, so I don't count that, because it's like you're not going to Kanye.
Yeah,
so it's
facts.
like forget him. But like, out of everybody else,
for sure,
I haven't heard an album sound this good in a long time. And surprisingly, I probably brought his name up every week since his album has dropped. And I think this is really important to note, is that the money of an independent artist and what the maximum amount of effort he can do, and the money of somebody on Travis's level, because Killer Mike sounds crazy.
Yep.
And it sounds amazing. And it is.
1000%.
Production-wise, that album is perfect top to bottom. But you just hear the money in Travis Scott's
different, bro.
It's just different, bro. It's just you can't even reach that. Like, you can't. Yeah. You have to have this money and this backing behind you. It is so, that album from start to finish sounds like every second of that album was important to him. And I don't say that about a lot of projects. I love when the artist pays attention to the very minor details in a project, and from the layer of the beats to the beat switches to the, like you said, the way the voices are used and the voices are put on each song to serve this purpose, like the Utopia Twins.
Oh yeah,
you hear that. You don't hear Rob 49 coming after that.
Nah.
You hear the regulars. Like, you hear Lil Baby, you hear, maybe you hear a Travis verse, or you hear Gunna verse.
Yeah, Raw 49 was smoking that shit.
He heard, I need, something different from it.
Yeah, something grimy. Something
grimy,
something really
on that. Grimy. Yeah. Oh, okay. Now and that's why 21 is behind him, because you don't want 21 to hear the first thing, because 21's the first thing, you'll go, I've heard this before.
Right, yeah.
But now you heard Rob 49, and now you get a Travis, and now 21 makes sense at the end, because it's like, oh, but this is what he does. We got the young nigga that does this. It is just, everything mattered on this album. Mm-hmm. And I can only appreciate that. I have been on record. I am not the biggest Travis Scott fan on earth, but I appreciate what he does musically because nobody sounds like him. So when you're on this level, and there have been trillions of rappers, hyperbolic of course, but there have been so many rappers, for you to have a sound that is only an extension from one of the 3 greatest artists ever sound, and you're the only other person that has mastered it of this way, I have to give you credit. Like, you deserve the credit. I've heard people say this is a completed version of Yeezus. I've heard that a lot. And I like that description because I'm not going to compare the albums, but it sounds like Yeezus matured. Yeah. And it sounds, matured or Yeezus is the raw, uncut version of this. Right. And that was the purpose of Yeezus, I point. So I don't think that's a negative thing that should, like, I don't want some Kanye stan to be like, how could you? Like, it's not a negative thing.
Turn on barrel, nigga. Like,
this is what music is.
Right.
But you hear it. Light Skinheads, you heard. I Am a God, you heard. New Slaves, you heard. On Sight, you heard. Like, you heard it. It wasn't like, oh, this kind of sounds like. Yeah. No, it was like, no, this is. Literally. But lastly, the standout of me is, like, the first 6 songs was cool. But that Drake verse came on. Listen, and from that Drake verse to the end of that album, for sure, it was hit after hit after great song after hit. Utopia Twins is a hit. Circus Maximus is a hit. Schizo is a hit. Telekinesis is a hit. I don't love K-pop, and I like Louvre or Love, however you're supposed to not pronounce that. I like that song without Kid Cudi, but y'all know how I feel about Kid Cudi, so probably
hey, listen, you're not the only one. You're not the only one no more. I know. People hate Kid Cudi now.
Do not like him.
Yeah. I saw a track list. It was like with the features, and instead of Kid Cudi, it was like some old man. Like, it took me forever to figure out who they meant to. Like,
some old man. Dave Chappelle, thank you always. But yes. Musically, this sounds like 5 years. Right. But I wanted to ask you coming in to hear, I'm excited to hear you use this question, but I wanted to ask you quickly, how did you feel about people being like, man, Travis ain't said nothing on this album. He ain't said nothing of substance on this album. Oh, yeah,
shout out.
How do you feel about
Shout out Trey, especially shout out Trey. Because I'm sure you're not talking about Trey, but Trey was like, man, Travis features be saving him or some shit. He ain't really rapping. Okay. I just don't know, niggas. I really don't. Because there's some bars on this. It's definitely great level Travis rapping, I'll say. Like, it's some bars on here, but it's what Travis is doing when he's making the album and what people have been accustomed to listening to when we listen to albums is a lot different. And we talk about this a lot. Like, this isn't a mixtape of Travis Scott songs that he wants you to listen to this summer. This is an album start to finish. So there aren't going to be songs where Travis just puts a beat on and raps for 4.5 minutes. Like, that's not what he does. Like, that's not his style of music. Travis Scott didn't become Travis Scott doing that. It's not like he has tapes where he would just get on a beat for 4 minutes like Nas and give you 3 verses. Like, I can't stand that. But musically, you're 1,000% correct with the Yeezus style influence and just that kind of sound maturing and pushing through rap in general now that we do have that next step of niggas who were teenagers when they were listening to these, who were kids when they were listening to these, and really trying to find themselves musically. All the songs I love, the standouts, hold on, I was just looking at it. The standouts for me, for sure, Sirens, the beat is crazy. Telekinesis and My Eyes are kind of some of my like underrated one. My Eyes, the Frank Ocean influence in music is ridiculous because that sounds beautiful. I for sure thought it was Frank Ocean, but him and Travis has worked together for before, so I'm not surprised that that's kind of rubbed off. But so I'll finish my last point and it kind of leads into my question because there's a couple songs on here that are literally Kanye songs. God Country's a Kanye song, and Telekinesis both started as Kanye songs. Telekinesis is Future Sounds, which still sounds amazing. Like you put Future on Future side. Listen, it's so good.
Always shout out to Future.
Always shout out to
every
Future.
time we can.
But I saw a meme. I don't know if you recognize this meme. It's like the you ever seen the 4 Ninja Turtles meme? Mm-hmm. So how like the little Ninja Turtles and the big ones. So did you see it? So it was. I think it was Cardi. It was the Whole Lotta Red album. I think it was Uzi, Travis, and damn, what album was it? So irrelevant to the meme question.
Was it Pink Tape?
It was the Pink Tape.
Okay.
But my question is, because we asked this when Travis dropped last time, and it was in a much different context because Chance hadn't dropped, but who do you think Kanye's best prodigy is?
That's a great question. I have never thought about that before.
Yeah, because I think on Ultra Light Beam,
Wow,
Chance called himself Kanye's best prodigy. And at the time, that's a hard claim.
Yes.
But now it's 7 years later. It's a lot of them now.
I would have to say at this point, Travis.
Yeah.
I think I would have to say Travis at this point because of the first person that comes to mind is Drake.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can give Kanye to Drake because of Wayne.
Yeah.
So after I take him out of the equation, I say probably Travis because I think Travis, and that's not even because Travis is the biggest of that generation, because I assume you're talking about Cudi. I assume you're talking about Uzi. I assume you're talking about Cardi. I would assume that in a way Future gets thrown into there too.
Yeah.
I don't think Future is like, if we're saying they're his prodigy, he's a distant cousin.
Right.
Is what I would say.
Yeah.
You definitely hear the influence of Kanye in Future's music, even if he never says that.
Right.
So from that little group, I would have to say Travis. But I would say that Playboy Cardi should be his prized possession.
Right.
Like, I don't want to say the golden child, but it should be.
He's the LaMelo.
Yeah.
He's the like they're successful, but Cardi could be the one.
It is like Cardi is what you think can happen, but you never think will ever happen.
Right.
Because Cardi is this thing. Like, Cardi has created, from your genre, Cardi created his own genre.
Literally.
And that is all you can ever ask for as the influencer. It's for your influence to turn into more influence. Right. And that is all Cardi did, is took Kanye and took it to
it's like concentrated. It's like concentrated.
Yes.
It's like he took all the water out.
Yes. And I would throw Don Toliver in there also. Don Toliver definitely goes in there. But yes, I would say Travis is his prized possession, and Playboy Cardi is the golden child. It is like Travis is like Travis is the prototype,
right?
The typical rapper. Yeah. But this guy over here, Cardi, is like, I thought music could get here, and I thought this could be done. Yeah. But the fact that somebody actually did it to this level, is like, damn, I'm that nigga.
When you think about it, when you really think about it, and this is a crazy sentence to say out loud. Because listen, stay with me, y'all. Cardi's whole career is basically Yeezus. If you think about it, the type of music he makes, the way his fans, like the way Yeezus fans talk about Yeezus, is the way Cardi fans talk about
his music.
Like that's literally it. Like he made an entire, like you said, a subgenre in that space, and it's really crazy. He sounded amazing on Fiend. Yeah. He even posted the feature. So we may be having a Cardi rollout. Who knows? But top to bottom, I don't think there's. I've listened to this album maybe 8 times already. Like it's so good.
It's a great sounding album if you love this type of music. I've heard some people say they can't do it. I've heard some people say it's too much. I've heard this, I've heard that, but that is great music. Yeah. There should be different topics. There should be people saying, how in the fuck do you feel that way both ways? There should be conversation. There should be disagreements because that means you made a great project. If you have everybody feeling bad about your project, you dropped a bad project. If you have everybody feeling great about your project, you might just be too popular. But you might just be Drake. But
you're Michael Jackson.
Yeah, like you're Michael Jackson. But like the 75 like this is perfect, this is great music, and the 25 like I don't know. That's kind of what you want in an album. But I am very pleased with what I said. Last week I said we're going to get one of those. I think this is one of those. I think this is the album you'll hear for the next year and a half. And I said something I do want to piggyback on is I said Travis needs to drop next year, and I would say that's only if he wants to be Drake.
Right.
I think music needs to come out because when Drake was becoming Drake, you just heard him everywhere.
Every year.
Wayne, same thing with Wayne. Same thing with Wayne with 50.
Right.
Kanye, when they was on their runs, you just heard them all the time.
Literally.
If Travis wants to do that and wants to reach that plateau, then yes, he needs another album. But this is an album you live with. This is an album you can let breathe for 2 years.
Let me just piggyback after, because this is probably my last Travis question. Let me just piggyback because I do like your point about him dropping again. If you could pick one artist for him to do a collab with next year, let's say he don't want to do a full studio album. Let's say he wants to do 12 songs, one artist. Who would you want it to be?
Damn, that's a good question. Does it have to be realistic?
Yeah.
Realistic? Okay.
He's not doing 12 songs with Beyonce. Because she for sure cooked on that shit.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Beyonce. I'm going to see her in 2 weeks. So I'm trying not to think about her at all because I'll slow my weeks up. But
it don't make the time go by faster.
Oh, God. All right, so I'm going to say Offset.
That's a good answer.
I'm going to say Offset.
That's a good
answer. I think
answer.
Don Toliver's too predictable.
Yeah.
Not his music. I'm saying like him
doing
and Travis is
yeah.
just too predictable.
Right.
I think Playboi Carti is unrealistic,
Yeah,
and I think that he needs to be by himself. I don't think that's the thing. So I would say Offset, just because I think Offset is an amazing rapper, and I think his level of rapping doesn't get to go doesn't get the recognition it deserves because of the style he raps in. It's a lot of trap, so you're more focused on the bounce and how it's making you feel than bro is like, oh my God.
Yeah, like
he can really rap.
Flowing, like,
yes. That's how last song he just dropped is like you can really tell, oh, Burke can rap. And I think Travis would bring that out of him while making the music sound amazing. So yeah, my answer would be Offset.
That's hard.
Who would yours be?
James Blake.
Oh, that's a great answer. That's a great answer. Oh, that's a great answer. Oh, that's a great answer.
I fucking love James Blake.
That's a great answer. Yeah, him and James Blake are a match made as
yeah. No matter what project James Blake pop on, I'd be like, hey, that nigga snapping.
Yes. He is a special talent.
Yeah.
Javante saw him live in one of the festivals they did in Atlanta this year. He said he's amazing because he sounds just like that. Like how he sounds
real life?
in real life. He
That's
sounds
beautiful.
exactly like he does
awesome.
in songs. So that is amazing. So shout out to James Blake. He is all over this album, background vocals, actual features. He's a match made in heaven for Travis. Truly, Travis has mastered his sound.
Hey, shout out Travis. Shout out, I don't even know what Travis fans are called, but shout out all y'all to Trans.